Yeah, I know that title's weird. How many did I have while making this? Just a few.
Have you ever had that 2 a.m. motivation and thought, I'm gonna fix my life tomorrow? Yeah, same. You lie there in your bed with a determined look, imagining just how successful you'll be. But then you wake up, hit snooze, and roll over. I had an episode of this recently, and like usual, it just disappeared, gone like it never was. So it made me wonder, where exactly does this come from? Why can I one day be motivated to finish an entire essay in one go, but other days the last thing I want to do is pick up a pen to study? Why can I sometimes live 3 days in one, but other times barely one in a week? Why are we so inconsistent? Which version of ourselves are we? To answer these questions, I'm going to talk about the voices in our head, not the schizophrenic ones hopefully, and how they manipulate and play with us in different ways. And I want to make it clear that this isn't a how to fix your life video that every motherfucker on YouTube has already made. It's just something to get you thinking. And by the end of the video, I hope I can teach you to reverse the roles and be the one conducting this mental orchestra. Or as I like to call it, the psychological sandbox. To try to answer what are we need to figure out what we're not. We like to think that we're in control, how we walk, how we talk, what music we like, etc. But are we actually? If the same person can be so productive and a complete bum, then who is actually in charge? We can mostly control our bodies, but did we choose them? Did we choose our likes and dislikes? Did we choose our fears and dreams? The unsettling answer to all those questions is no. But surely we're the thing in our heads, right? The person that feels consistent across our whole lives. That's at least us, isn't it? We like to think we're one thing, one person, one character, navigating our daily lives, being the center of the experience. But is that really true? Because one day you can be funny, confident, and feel unstoppable. But other days, you can't even decide what to eat without having an existential crisis. So which one is you? The nervous one giving a speech in front of the class, or the confident one in front of the mirror? The answer is both, but also neither, and something else entirely. So now we're getting somewhere. We aren't our bodies entirely, we aren't our likes and dislikes, and by the looks of it, we aren't our personality either, because they all change. What exactly are we then? If you close your eyes and just feel like what it's like to be you, what do you feel? Take away the body, the personality, and the buzz of the inner voice, and what's left? Who's the one noticing, feeling, and experiencing it all? That is the observer, the witness that sits in the back row, watching the movie of your life. It doesn't judge, it doesn't interfere, it is simply aware of what it's like to be you. The only true part of us is the part that experiences what it is like to be something at all. That is the foundation for our mental playground. Everything else is just weather. The reason we feel like different people on different days is because we kind of are. The emotions we feel, the moods we're in, the reactions we have, these are all different modes of the observer. Our brain runs on these emotional states that completely change how we think and act. There's tired you, motivated you, bored you, existential you. There's a whole cast in your head. And modern psychology backs us up. Theories like Schwartz's internal family systems say that the mind is made up of sub-personalities, each with its own voice, fears, and goals. So our mind is like a psychological sandbox, always creating, collapsing, rebuilding, and shifting. Different versions of you pop up and build their castles. Others knock them down and construct their own. Think about it. When you're angry, every message feels like an attack. When you're lonely, your childhood memories suddenly come with a sad piano soundtrack. When you're motivated, you genuinely believe that you can fix your entire life by Tuesday. Wildly different states of mind, but the same person. Psychology calls this state-dependent motivation and cognition. Your thoughts only feel true in the state that created them. That's why at night we might think, I'm gonna fix my life. And then in the morning, we risk our entire careers for just 20 minutes or more sleep. Your internal weather changed, so your sense of self did too. As kids, we're able to adopt these different modes and we don't identify with them so strongly. We can pretend to fly like Superman for an hour and then forget about it when it's time for dinner. The issue is, we grow up and we forget that it's a playground. We think that mood is reality. We believe that thought is truth. We start accepting that the castles are permanent. We forget that moods aren't facts and that thoughts aren't laws. We forget that we are the players of the sandbox and instead we become the toys. This matters because if you don't realize this, you'll get dragged around by every storm inside of you. The tricky part is, there's a million things that affect our state of mind at any given time. Other people, the environment, our health, the weather, and the list goes on and on. And we can't control the majority of these things. But what we can control is our response. The less we identify with our mood, the less power our emotions have over us. So how do we not be controlled by this space and start directing the show? This is where mindfulness comes in. Cliché, I know, but this isn't about meditating in the Himalayas and controlling your chi. Simply put, mindfulness is the awareness of the moment. It's about remembering that you aren't your thoughts. You're the space in which your thoughts appear. You aren't a single castle, you're the entire sandbox. You can't stop intrusive thoughts, bad moods, or the late night motivation from popping up, but you can decide which version of you gets to build. And that's the real power, not control, but choice. I know so far that this might sound like pseudoscience, so here's a technique that you can actually practice this awareness with: thought challenging. It works like this. 1. Recognize the thought. Next time you find yourself spiraling, just notice it. This has tired me. This version of me always wants to quit. Labeling a state reduces its power, literally shown in brain scans. 2. Examine the thought. Don't fight it. Is this thought true? Is this what I actually think or feel? Remember that resistance feeds the emotion. 3. Do something helpful. I'm feeling anxious right now, so I'm catastrophizing. I'm gonna go for a walk to calm my mind. You don't need to cook up a 10-year life plan, but even just a little pat on the back can go a long way. And this is where today's sponsor, Balance, can help you deal with this. Nah, I'm just kidding, but for real though, Balance. Please, sponsor me. So the more we practice being aware of how we are in any given moment, the more power we have in constructing our own castles. Because the moment you notice it, you're no longer controlled by it. You're back in the director's chair, and that's where you have the freedom to play. Of course, this is not going to be easy, and this is not guaranteed to give you traditional success with money, power, and pleasure. But it gives you peace, and that's priceless. We all have these characters. Some are disciplined, some are just NPCs, and some only come out at 2 AM when you just want to sleep. But none of them are you. You're the one watching them improvise. And once you realize that, you can start casting your days differently. You can choose when disciplined guy comes on stage, when reflective you takes the mic, and when to tell anxious you to piss off for a bit. But this isn't about killing off parts of yourself. It's about playing with them consciously. The moment you stop identifying with every mistake, every shitty mood, and every voice, you become lighter. Life becomes play again. And maybe the goal isn't to find yourself because you were never really lost to begin with. You've just been too busy arguing with the voices instead of listening to the silence underneath. And that silence, that awareness, that's the real you. Everything else is just an illusion.